Are you a digital product creator, but your products are collecting virtual dust and you're ready to blow that dust off once and for all? Or maybe perhaps you're creating a product and you're really not sure that once it's ready for customers, what to do next. Or perhaps you are a product wannabe. You have an idea, or maybe you're just trying to figure out what to create as a product, and you're really not sure about what to do and where to go for advice. Well, if any of this sounds familiar, I want you to know that you are in the right place. If you can invest the next 20 minutes or so, I would love to just show you what it's going to take to become a product-focused CEO by investing your time. Hi, I'm Dollie Freeman, the converting content strategist and host of the Product Focused CEO. It's a live and interactive show for product creators who are ready to build a six-figure business and beyond with strategy centered around their digital product line. So if that sounds like it describes you, I'd like to invite you to stay and be interactive with me. If it describes someone that you know, I'd encourage you to tag them in the comments and invite them to be your learning buddy for today's episode. Speaking of today's episode, I'm going to be teaching what it takes to become a product-focused CEO. Are you ready to join the conversations about what it takes? If so, I would love for you to interact and post your questions in the comments, and I'll be sure to interact and answer those questions at the end of this episode. Now, I want to get started today with sharing a story about what it was like for me when I finally realized that I was, in fact, a product-focused CEO. It happened back in 2015 when I was hosting my very first live event called the Focus Blogging Conference. Well, at this conference, there was a man who happened to be a CEO of an ad network that I was using at the time. And I'll tell you what, when I got his name and knew he was coming to my first year, it was a little, intimidating, because I had gone to so many blogging conferences in the past, and I never once saw a CEO attend as a sponsor. So I was really confused as to why the CEO would take the time and his money to come as a sponsor to my event instead of sending his capable people in his stead. Well, when I went up to him and made mention of my insecurities of him being there as a CEO, he looked me straight in my face and said, "Dollie, do you not realize that you are a CEO too?" And in that moment, I realized that he was right and that I had never recognized myself as a CEO of an online business. And it was in that moment that, I'll tell you what, my courage, my confidence, and my outlook on what I was doing changed drastically. So I want to share with you what it was that this CEO saw in me to not only recognize, but inform me that I was his equal. We were on the same page. We were both CEOs of businesses. So would that be of interest to you, of knowing what it takes to be a CEO and what it was that this sponsor saw in me that made me realize that I was a CEO as well? In today's show, we're going to be talking about what it takes to be a product-focused CEO. I'm very excited about this because, let me tell you, it is important that you understand what you're working towards and how to get there. Without knowing these steps of what it takes to get there, you'll never arrive. It's like trying to take a journey to somewhere you've never been without a map getting you there and directions along the way. So it all starts right here. So let me start by the very first thing. The very first one is a positioned product. Now, I want to explain the difference between a positioned product and a finished product. They're completely different. So if you have a finished product in your store, it does not mean it's a positioned product. A positioned product is one that you have visible to your target market. So in this example of when Larry, the CEO of the blogging network at the time, who was my ad sponsor, he actually saw that I had a positioned product. I had two, matter of fact, for that conference. It was tickets, and then it was also sponsorships, right? So I had positioned a product. And when I had done that, my very first year, he realized that, you know what? This is something to pay attention to. And that's when he started to realize that, hey, she's on the radar. Let's keep this in our focus. So the second part is a strategic marketing campaign. This is the difference of a digital product sitting in your store and one that is positioned. Is it needs a strategic marketing campaign. You cannot just say, okay, I'm finished with my product, put it in the store, and then sit there and wait for people to purchase. It will never happen. It's like a perfect secret hidden under a bush that no one knows is there, and they may pass it constantly. But until you have something strategically marketing, saying, look at this in a way that's what's in it for them, and that will help them to understand the benefit of them to first learn more about it and be intrigued by it and then purchase it. So without the strategic marketing campaign, it's the difference between virtual dust and virtual income. And that's where I want you to think about is how am I going to make this a virtual income with my product line? If you do not have this strategy in place, you need to make this a priority and get it focused for, as much as you can throughout the entire year, but start little. Start thinking about that very first time you're going to draw attention to them, right? So when I had that conference back in 2015, the Focus Blogging Conference, I had to have strategic marketing campaigns, one for attracting attendees and one for attracting sponsors. Because let me tell you, putting on a live event is a whole lot of money. It's a big commitment and it's a scary commitment. So that very first year, I had to be very strategic about what I was going to do prior to the tickets being opened and the sponsorships being positioned. So it's very important to have that. Most people think they're going to just have a product in the store and get customers. And if it was that easy, we all would be millionaires. So the third step of what it takes to be a product-focused CEO is converting customers. You need to know you cannot be a product-focused CEO without customers that have purchased your positioned product. In order for you to say, hey, I am a product-focused CEO, it's the difference between converting customers is the difference between you being a CEO and you being a product creator. So when you focus on getting there, getting to this converting customers, and you can't get there without that strategic marketing campaign, right? You need to focus on how you're going to convert those customers, right? So that very first Focus Blogging Conference in 2015, I had 100 tickets for sale. I sold 87 of them, never hosting an event. I nearly sold out on all of my sponsorships. I only had one left. Now, up to this point, I had already done sponsorship work, so I kind of knew what I was doing, but never did I know how to sponsor events. So that was a big learning curve for me. But I had converting customers on both sides, almost a full attendees as well as a full sponsorship as well. So that is key when you are trying to become a product-focused CEO. And it's the difference. Converting customers is the difference between a product creator and a product-focused CEO. All right, so number 4 is in order to be what it takes to be a product-focused CEO, you need to have communication with your customers. You need to be actively listening, not just to your audience and what it is that they want, but you need to be listening to your customers and communicating with them to know how they're working through your product, how it is that you can make it better if you are delivering on what you've promised, if you can improve on what you're doing, and more importantly, getting those transformation stories as they're moving through and getting the results that they need. So I really want you to focus on not just selling the customer, but serving the customer and then being there through the process, through communication. It is vital to having the best results that you can as a product-focused CEO. Okay, the fifth thing that you're going to need for what it takes to be a CEO is plan to develop transformed customers. What this means is stories sell, right? In order for you to keep growing your marketing campaign, you need to have stories leading the way. Now, I understand that not everybody is going to have transformation stories, because when you first get started, there are no customers, right? And so you still need to campaign and have that marketing. So where does the stories come from? Well, if you're creating your products the way that I teach, you are creating it from what you know, what your skills are, and your experience. And with that, you are your very first transformation story. And so you need to learn how to develop your story and to be able to position that long before you have your very first customer, right? Stories sell. So if you are communicating with your customers through their consumption and implementation of your product, you will learn how to develop those transformed customers. Transformed customers are the word of mouth referrals that you need to scale your product-focused business. So there you have it. These are so important for you to be able to understand what it takes to become a product-focused CEO. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about that story of the time found out that I was a product-focused CEO, that time of clarity from another CEO who was that sponsor at my very first event. Now, one thing that he had said to me was that he was there, why he came himself and not just sent a team, which everyone else does, and what he has always done when sponsoring other events, is why he came is that I was doing something different in the blogging conference market. He was so shocked by the uniqueness that this blogging conference had that he wanted to come and check it out. So immediately I had tapped into my unique authority factor based on what I wanted as a blogger in the blogging conference market who wanted to attend my dream conference. Well, it wasn't out there. So I built it based on what I wanted as an attendee of a blogging conference. Well, that unique authority factor is what perked the curiosity of a competitor, another product-focused CEO, who at the time, I did not realize until this conversation that the blogging network that I was a part of, the ad network I was a part of, that he was a CEO of, also held annual blogging conferences. I didn't know that because I was new to ad marketing and they had never launched their event while I was a customer. So I was oblivious to the fact that this ad network also had a live conference every year. So he came as a competitor to check out a competition. It was the unique authority factor of me designing a conference where you learn and implement at the same time with mentors. That it was intimate. Mine only had 100 tickets available. His, when I attended it a few months later, was over 700 attendees. And here this CEO was coming to check out my blogging conference. So the fact of the matter remains, if you're doing what I just told you in those 5 steps, if you're positioning your product, if you are strategically planning your marketing campaigns, if you are having converting customers, if you're communicating with your customers, and if you're developing transformation stories, you are going to position yourself as a product-focused CEO, even if you don't recognize it yourself. It will actually make the competitors in your market notice you before you notice them. And that's the difference between being a product creator and being a product focused CEO. You have to know where you're going. You have to have that map. You have to have the directions every step of the way to know that you're on target, that you're moving forward in the right direction, and that you're actually going to not only attract your target market, but you're going to get the attention of the competitors in your market. Not because it's all about the competitors, but you know you're doing something right when your competitors notice and see your qualifications before you do. So it doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter what experience you have. It doesn't matter if you've already created your product, if you still haven't got a product, or your product has virtual dust, or maybe you're one of the blessed product creators who actually have income coming in, but you're just ready to scale. If that is any of you, I want to tell you that I have something that I want to share with you. It is discover what actions to take as a product focused CEO. I want you to download this. This is an action plan that will help you implement not what I said today, but the key actions, those directions, right, of what you should be doing to help you put these things in place. These 5 things I taught you today, you're going to want this action plan. It's not only telling you what it is that you should be doing as a product focused CEO, but it's going to show you the things to focus on, the actions to take in your business right now that would change you from a product creator to a product focused CEO. A product creator does not mean that you have income. And that's the difference. I want you to stop looking at other product creators in your market. You don't know what their bottom line is bringing in. All you know is that they have a product created. You don't know how it's converting. You don't know anything. So I want you to really zone in, focus in on what I'm trying to teach you, because it will make the difference of virtual dust and virtual income. All right, so let me come back on screen and let you know that we can go ahead and get into the actions or the comments. Post your questions. I want to interact with you. I want to know how I can help you turn from a product creator to a product focused CEO. The difference is the income, the scalable income. And it all starts with actionable strategies that you can use right now to move you forward a little bit at a time. So go ahead and post your comments, and I will be sure to interact with you. Let me know where you're from. Let me know whereabouts. Let me know if you're a product creator, if you're working on your product, if you have multiple products. I'd love to hear from you. Meanwhile, I hope you show up for next week's episode, where we're going to be talking about attract a product focused audience. There's a lot of things that content creators and product focused creators or product creators, goodness, are doing wrong in their marketing. And they're actually attracting and paying for free seekers, people who are just out there looking for free things. So next week, I'm going to be talking about those strategies that will help you to actually attract a product focused audience. That's the difference between virtual dust and virtual income. So if that's of interest to you, I want you to join me same place, same time, 11 a.m. next Wednesday, either on Facebook or on YouTube, and I will be able to help walk you through what it's going to take for you to become the product-focused CEO that you have the potential to be. All right, so I'm not seeing any comments today, but thank you for interacting or coming live. And remember, this is a live and interacting show where you have the opportunity to tap into my experience and my knowledge as a strategist for content conversion. And I would love to help you move forward every week, one show at a time. All right, until next time, bye for now.